This video is about the Modal Integrative Psychotherapy, which I have developed over the past 12 or so years within the Institute for Practical Humanities in Belgrade in Serbia, and which has been taught to new psychotherapists for the past 10-ish years, parallel with the development of the methodology and concepts and techniques which have largely occurred within the framework of the international network of national organizations of philosophical practitioners. So what is modal integrative psychotherapy? We are now launching a program of training which is a 4-year full training in modal integrative psychotherapy only in English. So far we've done it parallelly in English and in Serbian. Now we are doing it only in English, only for international candidates. And this video is intended to briefly introduce the concept and explain why this is relevant. So why modal integrative psychotherapy as opposed to conventional psychotherapy? Modal integrative psychotherapy is based on modal logic. Modal logic is an advanced form of logic which takes into account the shortcomings of conventional logic, the logic of the so-called truth conditions. The conventional logic is based on the idea that certain concepts, certain propositions, certain sentences can be true or false, basically in a very crude form. And it is concerned about specifying the conditions under which particular beliefs or propositions, as logicians say, beliefs or sentences or statements, can be true or false. So it is basically the logic of truth and falsity, what is true and what is false. Now you can explain a considerable part of the world in terms of certain beliefs about the world being true or false. And this happens in conventional psychotherapy. Conventional psychotherapy deals with the conditions for our beliefs about the world to be true or false, or productive or unproductive, or optimal or suboptimal. So it deals about the conditions for success, conditions for the effectiveness of our beliefs about the world, and it deals with ways to improve our beliefs about the world and thus increase our quality of life and our effectiveness as human beings in our social world. This is the very broad mission of conventional psychotherapy. Now, modal logic is an advanced form of logic which supersedes the so-called propositional conventional logic, because it is concerned about not only about the conditions, it is concerned not only with the conditions of truth and falsity of our beliefs, but with the conditions of possibility, probability, time dependence of our beliefs. For the conditions of the possibility that our beliefs might be valid. What is the difference? The difference is fundamental. The difference is the same as the difference between one room and the whole world. Like if conventional logic deals with whether our beliefs are true or false, this is like life in a room which has its rules and has its furniture and has its spatial coordinates within which we find our way about life, whereas modal logic is about living in the world as in the great big world outside our room and our house. Modal logic does not end and is not satisfied with finding out whether a belief is true or not, and what conditions must obtain in order for the belief to be true. Modal logic asks the further question of under what conditions something that is not possible, that can't be true in this life, in this room, in this context in which I live, can become true in a different context. And it operates with the concept of possible worlds, which I call modal worlds, where my room, where I now live, where my circumstances and my social circle and my friends and my students and my family and my neighbors and my relationships and my emotions are one model world, my world. And in my world as it is, certain things that I desire or that would change my life are not possible. But if I am able to undermine my own model world, my own life world, as existentialists would say, and switch to a different set of circumstances, to a different model world, to a different possible world, and it's somewhere there, it hovers around my current model world, I just need to call it into reality, then things that are impossible now will become possible. And vice versa, things that are possible now might become impossible in that different world. But I will change, and my life experience will change dramatically, and in many cases improve immensely. This is what modal logic does. This is why modal logic has superseded propositional logic. And you can't find a logician today who is doing research in propositional logic, in conventional logic. Everybody studies conventional logic in school in order to understand what logic is. But no scientist, no logician, no philosopher today researches conventional logic. They research modal logic. And conventional logic is one of the modal logics, one of the ways of thinking about logic. A similar situation applies to physics, for example. In physics, the standard form of physics is Newtonian physics, Isaac Newton's physics, which is the physics of force and vectors and impact and gravity and things like that. So everybody studies Newtonian physics. But no researcher today, no serious physicist researches Newtonian physics because it's been superseded by a new paradigm of quantum physics, of Einsteinian physics. Since Einstein developed the theory of relativity and introduced the concept of energy and time, physicists deal with advanced forms of physics, including quantum physics. Nobody deals with Newtonian physics, and some concepts in Newtonian physics are even considered wrong, implausible in modern physics research and in the modern science of physics. So it's a similar situation to the relationship between modal logic and conventional logic. Now everybody studies Newtonian physics in school because that's the way to introduce the concept of physics, the basic concepts. So basically students learn something that is already outdated, that doesn't really apply in the science, in the state of the art. In the same way in which students of philosophy study conventional logic as a way to prepare for serious work in logic, which is modal logic. And in the same way, psychotherapists study conventional psychotherapy, but in most cases they remain on the level of propositional logic and truth conditions on which conventional psychotherapy is based. Now, modal integrative psychotherapy is based on modal logic. It is the new paradigm of psychotherapy, which opens up completely new avenues of intervention, completely new avenues of interpretation of our life experience, and completely new avenues of methodology to address life's difficulties. And the principal mechanism behind these interventions is the idea that that we can't be satisfied with the current model world in which we find ourselves. We do need to understand where the furniture in my little room is, and this conventional logic that defines my current possible world is, in order not to bump into that furniture, right? But that's not something that my life should be limited to, and that's not something that psychotherapy should limit anyone to. And therefore, I need to be able to undermine my room, to leave my room, to abandon my room for a better room, for a larger house, for a larger field, for more people, for a greater life experience, for a different perspective. And this different perspective is offered in interventions, and psychotherapy is offered by Modal Integrative Psychotherapy. So we are starting our program of training only for international candidates. So if you want to enroll or if you need further information, please visit www.iph.edu.rs. Again, it's www.iph.edu.rs, Institute for Practical Humanities. You will find all the information on that website, or write to me here by direct message. Thank you.